Good morning, Wendy. It's nice to see you. Hi, Sarah Jane. Good morning. Oh, that's better. Thank you. Hi, Betty. Hey, Mealy. Is it Mealy? Am I pronouncing that right? Good morning. Hi, Charlene. Nice to see you. Morning, Tracy. I'm so glad you could make it this morning. Hi, Shona. Hi, Christine. Just going to give it a few more moments. Hi, Rabina. Okay, I'm just going to give it maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. While you're waiting, if you have a page protector, can you grab that so that I can show you how to put your layout into that once we've got the layout finished. So if you have a page protector handy, just go ahead and grab it and we'll show you how to put that together at the end. Morning, Ruth. Nice to see you here. Hi, Jen. Good morning. Okay, I'm just going to get started now since it's 10 o'clock. So, excuse my raspy voice. It's really cold in here this morning. Okay, so this is, excuse me. So this is our layout here. So you can actually get 2, 4, 6, 7 photos on this one. So they all fold up like this. So you can get a photo on the front and the back there, like that. And then you can put one down in the middle there. So this is a good layout if you've got a couple of photos that you want to keep together. So how many were there? 2, 4, 6, 7 photos on there. So it's a pretty simple one. Good morning, Angelina. Oh, I'm glad you could join us. I hope you enjoy it. It's a pretty simple layout though, this one, but I did want to show you how to put it into your page protector at the end of the class so that we can show you how easy it is to put interactive album layouts. Thank you, Mike. I'm not good in the mornings. So it's easy to put interactive layouts into your page protectors here. So that's our layout, and I'm just going to get you started now. So what I want you to do is this one here, your 12 by 12 black piece here, I want you to cut the border off, and then I want you to measure in 1 inch on all the sides, and then we're going to cut that middle piece out. Good morning, Lynn. So measure that in 1 inch on each side. So I'm just going to trim my border off here first. There, and now I'm just going to measure in 1 inch around all sides, and then we're just going to cut that middle piece out, and we're going to put that aside to use a bit later. So if you prefer to do it with a pencil and a ruler, just measure in 1 inch, put a pencil mark at the top and bottom like that, and just rule between the two. and then you can just cut that out. Now we do need this middle piece, so try not to cut too much into this. If you're using a trimmer, I have this one here, the We Are Memory Keepers one, and it's got a 1 inch down the side here, and it's got my 1 inches across there. So if I was to do this really nice and quickly, I would bring it across to 1 inch there. I'll just bring it in just a little bit so you can see. There we go. So I've got it at 1 inch there. I'm going to bring my trimmer blade up to the 1 inch on the side of my ruler here. I'm going to push it down from there all the way down, and then I'm going to stop at 11 inches down here. And that just gives you a really quick and easy cut there. So I would turn it round, bring it to 1 inch again, bring this blade to 1 inch on the side again, push it down all the way down to 11 inches again. And you just carry on doing that around there so that you end up with a nice inside piece coming out from the middle that we can use later. I know a lot of people prefer using rulers and pencils, which is absolutely fine, but if you wanted to try a different way of doing it, that's a nice, quick, easy way. So this piece here, we're going to put aside for a bit later. I'll just zoom back out again. Here we go. So this piece we're going to use for later for one of our photo mats. So just pop that aside. This piece is going to be the base of our layout. So even though it's got nothing in the middle here, this piece that we're going to put on now is going to give you some stability on there. So it's just a way of saving some paper that you can use later if you want to, because you're not going to see any of that, so it's no point keeping it there. So go ahead and cut this border off as well. So I'm just going to cut that border off at 12 inches. And don't forget, you can keep these borders for later. They have some really pretty sayings on there, so you can keep that for something else another day. Now, if you've got, so this piece here, I want you to cut down to 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. So we're just cutting off a smidgen on two sides there. So 11 3/4 on one side. And I'm just going to turn it around and do 11 3/4 on this side. So you only need to do it on two sides. Oh, sorry, my blade is really bad. So I'll just tidy that up while you carry on cutting out. There we go. Okay, so this will now measure 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. So you will need now to use some tape or some glue, and we're just going to pop that into our black one there so that we have just a tiny little black border around there like that. Okay, so go ahead and stick that down now. So I'm going to use tape, but you could use glue if you prefer glue. Again, I just like tape because it's easier to maneuver if you need to pull it off and start again. Hope everybody's well on this very chilly morning. I've got a photo from Kayla this morning, my daughter, and she had frost all around her house this morning. It was beautiful. We sort of seem to have gone into winter with a vengeance this year. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that onto my black border there. Sorry, I've got phones ringing all over the place in the background there. Okay, so it doesn't matter which way up you like it. You could have it that way or you could have it that way, whichever you prefer. So just to center it in the middle there. Awesome. So now you have a solid piece to put into your page protector. Okay, now hopefully you got our email and you cut out these 4 things. If you haven't, just go ahead and cut them out while we start onto the circles here. So I'm just going to get you to grab your circles. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 circles there. So those circles we're going to fold up to make these little squares here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So what I suggest you do is just fold it in half. So fold it in half one way, then we're going to open it up, turn it around, and we're going to fold it the other way. So you end up with 4 even quarters there. Morning, Maria. Good morning, Kayleen and Jenny. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I don't know if you can see very well there, but we do have 4 quarters there now. So what I want to do is between these 2 quarters here, so in that 1 quarter there, I'm going to fold this little bit back so that it's lining up with those fold lines I did. Okay, so that's how it's going to look on the other side. So between those 2 let's see if we can focus that a bit better. There we go. So between those 2 fold lines, we're just going to fold that back like that, so that they line up nicely between those 2 fold lines. So you need to do that on all of your circles. So if you want to go ahead and carry on with that, that'd be awesome. Hi Karen, hey JC, it's beautiful to see you guys here. Yeah, we've got a really lovely day in Tauranga too. It's just a bit cold. But I don't mind the cold. I actually prefer cold. My circles, Wendy, are, let me see. They are 2 inches in diameter, so it's a 2-inch circle. But you could do them any size you want. You could do bigger ones, you could do smaller ones. The technique is exactly the same for all sizes. So we've ended up with that. I haven't done that one very well. So you should have them in little squares when you finish there. So we want to go ahead and do that with every one of our circles. So that might take you a little while, so we'll get going on that. Sorry, my voice is very croaky this morning. So fold it one way, then open it up, fold it the other way. And then between those 2 fold lines, we're just going to fold that back. Oops, I'm doing the wrong way. Going to fold that back so that it's even with those 2 fold lines that we've just done in that quarter. And just carry on doing that right around the whole circle. There we go. So there's 2 done. We've got a few more to go. Sorry, I'm just going to have a cough to clear my throat. So fold in half, open, fold in half again. I like to line that line up there that I've done with my first fold when I line it up again there. So they should be pretty on top of each other, so that gives you a nice even 4 quarters there. Not the wrong way around, this way. So if you choose to do this with some other papers, just choose the colour that you want to be showing mostly on the outside. So I wanted my dots showing, so it was a bit of a contrast between the 2. How's everyone going? Jenny, what paper am I using? This is from the Amethyst collection, so let me just check my instructions here. It is it's either the Moonstone, oh hang on, I can tell you. So this one here, this purple one here is Moonstone, and this dotty one here is Full Moon. So those are the 2 papers I'm using. This one here was on a sheet of other ones, and that one was... What was that one? Oh, hang on, I'll let you know. Oh, that one was Full Moon, so the other one, I'm not sure what the other one was, but I can check it out for you. So there are 3 papers just from the Amethyst collection, which we still have lots and lots of if anyone wants it, because they are very pretty. Okay. Oh, good, Karen. It's nice to see you back at the card class one too. Hopefully this time I won't make a mistake in that one. It's a bit quieter here this morning. I've only got 1 dog instead of 2. There we go. So I've got 4 done. So I'm trying to go very slowly so I can keep up with everybody. So we need 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them done. So if you are quite quick at this and you haven't cut your flowers out, I suggest you try and cut those out when you can. Got a minute? You can add the flowers later if you want to. It's not a big deal. We hopefully get an announcement from the PM on Monday saying whether we can put our group sizes up, and if that's the case, we will definitely get back into our classes. It's just unfortunately, because we're only allowed 10 in here, I haven't got the space to be able to space everyone out safely, so we've sort of put it off a little bit until we can figure out when the size of the groups can get back together. So it'll be nice to get back to classes and see everybody in the flesh again. Oh, yeah, Karen, I made a mistake in the last card one. I cut it completely wrong and had to go back and get another piece and start again. Poor Jocelyn was sitting there yelling at me because don't cut it, don't cut it. Hi, Cherise, good to see you. This trimmer here, Wendy, is the We Are Memory Keepers, and it is a 12-inch board here, so you've got 12 inches along there. It's great because it actually has all the quarters, an eighth of an inch and 5/8 of an inch. You can score on it. You've got your centimetres down the bottom here, and you've also got centimetres and inches along the side here. But what it does do is if you flip it over, you pull these out and then it does fold down. So you can just have it that size as well. I just love these ones because you've got your cutter, your scoring board, and you can fold it out to a 12-inch base, which I think is just great. We have got some arriving very, very soon. They're about $49 and they are well worth the money. I would highly recommend them. Yeah, I can't wait for classes either, Jenny. It's going to be great. It's going to be really good to see everybody back again. Get back into a normal life again. Although I've got to say, I've kind of enjoyed lockdown. It gave us a really good break actually, even though we were still working. It just gave us a nice break where we had to take it. So it was quite nice. I didn't mind being stuck at home at all, to be honest. There you go. How's everyone going with their folding? Doing okay? Yeah, I do too, Debbie. You're all probably so sick of hearing me complain about my blade. I have about 40 blades coming very soon, so I just cannot wait to get them. We've had packages stuck in Chicago for about a month. We've had a package lost, so we had to reorder everything, which was my blade one. It's just been an absolute nightmare, but understandable. I mean, with the way the world has been this last couple of months, it's just what it is, and we have to deal with it. But yes, I will be very glad to get my blades. I'm getting very tired of defluffing. Well, thanks, Karen. You're so lovely. But I do make mistakes, and I make a lot of them. There we go. So how's everyone going? I've got 3 left to go. So I know it's a bit monotonous, but it does have a really lovely effect if you can put up with the pain of doing this many of them. You don't need to even do this many if you just want a couple on there. There we go. Sorry, Karen, I didn't mean to disillusion you, but I am human. Here we go. Right, last 2. Yeah, thanks, Angelina. I have used tin foil to try and sharpen it. I've used a nail file. It's just, I have had that one in my board for about 3 months now, and it's just really tired. So I think I've sharpened it the best I can. But thank you so much for your suggestion there, because it does work. It's just, I think my one's just beyond reviving now. Here we go. So I've got 1 more to go. So just fold in half, open, fold in half again.
Well, you've got to keep the appearance.
Hello. Okay, just fold down on those last bits there. There we go. Now, if you are not finished folding all of them, I am going to just carry on, but if you haven't finished folding all of them, that's okay. We can actually add these later, so don't panic if you haven't got them finished. So now I've got all of those finished. I'm just going to put them aside and we'll put them on a bit later. So that's one technique there that we've just shown you to do. So you could use these on cards, you could use them on anything. They're great. You can do them any size, like I said before, so awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start cutting along here. So when I did this page, I didn't want my fold to show here. So what I've actually done is I've actually cut into my paper and I've folded it over onto the back there. So I'll just take it out of this page protector so you can see it a bit better. So what I've done is I've just put a slit in there and I've folded my little flap over onto the back there, because otherwise my flap would be sitting here and I really didn't like the look of that. So if you want to do it the easy way, that's the easy way of doing it. If you want to just get rid of those flaps, what I'm going to get you to do is grab a ruler and a pencil, and from the bottom of your purple piece, not your black piece, but your purple piece, I want you to measure up 7 1/4 inches. So just measure up from the bottom on the right here at 7 1/4 inches. Just put a pencil mark anywhere. And then I want you to measure in 1/2 inch on this side here. So there's my 7 1/4 mark, and here's my 1/2 inch mark. So that's where I want to start measuring from. I'm just going to grab a rubber. So I'm just going to rub out that mark there so I don't confuse you. So this is 1 inch in here. So, oh sorry, 1/2 inch on the side there. Oh, thank you, Juanita. Hi, Sue, it's good to see you. So 1/2 inch on the side here and 7 1/4 inches up there. Now I'm going to come across here a bit more and do another 7 1/4 inches, just so I can see where I'm going to line up my line along there. So what I want to do now is line up my 1/4 inch here. And I'm going to measure 6 1/2. So I've brought my ruler to 6 1/2 where my pencil mark is. Make sure I'm lining up properly. And I'm going to go right to the end of my ruler. So that there is where one slit is going to be. Okay. So 1/2 inch on the side here, 7 1/4 up to here, 7 1/4 up to here, so that we've got a straight line. And there's this slit across here is going to be 6 1/2. Just make sure that's 6 1/2. Yep. So go ahead and grab a craft knife and a craft mat, and we're going to cut that slit out. So I'm just going to pop it on there, grab my ruler and my craft knife, and we're just going to cut along there. So that's going to be one slit for one of our photo mats. There we go. So that's one there. So I want to come up now. So if you're keeping up on the instructions, we're up to number 7 on the instructions. So I'm going to come up 7 3/4 this time. So 7 3/4. Want to come up 7 3/4. So just a pencil mark, just a little dot, just so you know where that is. And this time I want to come in 1 inch across from my side here. There we go. Okay, so that's 1 inch across here. And 7 3/4 right from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to measure across here again. I'm going to measure 7 3/4 just so I can line up my line nice and evenly. So 7 3/4, and then I want to measure between those two at 6 1/2 again. There we go. So there's my 6 1/2 mark. I'm going to bring it right to the end of my ruler. So that's going to be where you do your second slit there. How's everyone going? Is that making sense? If you have any questions, please ask. I'm very happy to answer anything, or slow down, or go over something. Now I'm just going to use my ruler and my craft knife again to cut that slit as well. Okay, so that's 2 slits there for 2 photo mats. Now our last one we're going to do, change over there. My last one we're going to do is we're going to come up 8 1/4 inches. So from the bottom again, 8 1/4. So So I'm just going to make a pencil mark at my 8 1/4 mark. And then this time we're going to come in 1 1/2 inches. There we go. So there's our 1 1/2 mark there. So 1 1/2 on the inside here, 8 1/4 from the bottom to the top. So I'm going to come across again and do another 8 1/4 along here so I can have a straight line. There we go. Okay. So we're going to measure our 1 1/2 inch here, and we're going to bring that to 6 1/2 inches, and we're just going to draw a line across there again to the very end. Okay, Angelina, where are you up to? Are you up to these lines here? Basically, all I'm doing is 3 strips of lines here, and I'm just bringing them over 1/2 inch each time and up 1/2 inch each time. So I'm just going to cut that, and I'll go back over it, Angelina, for you. Okay, so now we have our 3 slits there for our 3 photo mats. So, Angelina, what I want you to do is basically all we're doing is coming in 1/2 inch on the right side here. So 1/2 inch across there. My next line is coming in 1 inch. And the last line is 1 1/2 inches. So they're all coming in 1/2 inch bigger, and then they're coming up 1/2 inch. So if this one here, this first slit is 7 1/4, I think it was. Yep. So we're going from the bottom to the top, 7 1/4, and I just want to cut a 6 1/4 inch slot along there. So we've come in 1/2 inch, up 7 1/4 inches. And we've cut a 6 1/4 inch slot along there. So this second one comes across 1 inch, comes up, what was that one? 7 3/4. So 7 3/4 from the bottom, 1 inch from the side, and then this slit is 6 1/4. So this last one is 1 1/2 inches in this side here, and then we come up 8 1/4. So 8 1/4 from the bottom and 1 1/2 inches from the side, and then you're going to do a 6 1/4 inch slit across there. So I hope that makes sense, Angelina. Just give me a yell if you're still lost. Right, so now that we have our 3 little slits here for our photo mats, we're going to cut our photo mats out now. So I want you to cut 3 pieces of black cardstock. So you will have, in your kit, you'll have an A4 black plus that one that we cut out from the center of our black piece at the beginning. So I'm going to pop that aside now. So I want you to cut 3 pieces of black to measure 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. Just going to grab my trimmer. So 4 3/4. Actually, I might do 6 and... What was it? 6 1/4, wasn't it? Yep, so we'll do 6 1/4 first because that's the first measurement I've got on my page. 6 1/4. Flip it round and do 4 3/4 now. No problem, Angelina. Just give me a yell if I can help with anything else. Alright, 4 3/4. Now, while that's still here, if you've got a board like this, I want you to grab your stylus and I want you to score at 1/2 inch. If you don't have one of these boards, then just bring it up to 1/2 inch on your board and then just score down in that groove. Okay, so we've got 6 1/4 inch by 4 3/4, and then we're going to measure in 1/2 inch and we're just going to score down there. So that's going to be our little flap that we're folding, and that's going to go into one of the slots that we've just done. So you need to pop 3 of those down. So we've got one there. So another one we need to do at 6 1/4 by 4 3/4. So that one's 6 1/4, so 4 3/4. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch. So if you don't have one of these, take it off your board and then just bring it over to 1/2 inch on your board and score down in that groove. Okay, so that's number 2. Just going to score mine down, burnish mine down a bit. So we've got 2 there, and we just, out of this last piece that was the middle of our layout, we're going to cut another one that's 6 1/4. Flip it around so it's 4 3/4 and cut there again. And then score at 1/2 inch. Okay, I'll just give you a second to catch up if you're a bit behind there. You guys are doing really well. Good job. Okay, oh, it's getting so bad. I think I might have to go out and have a celebratory drink when I get my blades in. It's going to be that exciting. Okay, so have you guys got 3 photo mats there now? Great. Okay, so we're going to start back onto our layout here. Now just fold really well on those fold lines, and I like to burnish them down just so they're a nice crisp fold there, so that they fold up and down really well. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit of tape along that flap, so the underneath part, so this piece here is going to go into the slot, into that first slot, like that, and I'm going to flip it over, and then we can put some tape on the back there and just fold that down like that. Okay, so just a bit of tape on the back. Now we do have to be a little bit careful when we're putting these in, because these cuts are quite close to each other. I don't want them to rip, so just be a little bit aware that you might rip them if you're not too careful there. So just fold that back on the back there. Okay, so there's our slits there. This one's just stuck down on that very first one. You do, Karen. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty amazing day. Oh, the little things. Okay, so there's our first photo mat there. So I want you to carry on and do that to the second slit there, that one, and then that one there. So just pop that little tab there through the second one there. Flip it over, and you just put a bit of tape on the back, and then just fold that down like that. Okay, you guys are doing great. Well done. You can use glue on this if you prefer glue. Okay, so push it right up against that slit there and fold it down nice and tight. Great, so we've got 2 done there, so there's our 2 flaps there. So one there, and we've got our last one going to go in that last little slot there. So pop your flap into there. Flip it over, pop some tape on the back, and then fold it down. You're so right, Karen. It's the simple things in life that make us happy. Here we go. Okay, so you should now have 3 opening flaps there. I have actually just gone a little bit off on mine, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. So, how's everyone going? All up to that bit there? I hope so. Actually, what I was going to tell you about is that ripping, is I did rip mine a little bit when I've been fluffing around with it, trying to get it all sorted. So that's the sort of ripping I'm talking about. So just be a bit gentle and just be a little bit careful that you don't rip those bits there. Now, these bits here you can see, so I'm just going to grab a rubber and I'm just going to rub those out the best I can. There we go. Awesome, you guys are doing so great. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to position these on now. So I have 4 across the top of mine. Now when I've come to stick them down, I've just lined up those 2 points with the sides of my card there. So that will give you a nice straight edge there. So just the points line up with each side of your purple card there. So I'm just going to use tape so that I can reposition them if I need to. If you prefer to use glue, that's great. Go ahead and do that. I just if you do need to reposition them, it's going to be a bit harder to do it with the glue. So I always just use tape for that. Okay, so this one's going to go right up against that side there and just stick down. Okay, so just measuring it up with the two sides here and here, just so it gives it a nice even look there. So go ahead and put 3 more across there. So you're just lining up the points with the points there and just keep going across there. Now don't stress if they're not lining up perfectly, because you really aren't going to notice a whole lot of it once everything's done. So there's 2 on there, so I need another 2 across this way. So they are on a diamond shape rather than a square shape. Okay, so that's 3 there. And the last one across the top here, number 4. There we go. Okay, so that's my last one along the top there. So you should have 4 across the top there, like that. Right, so the next one what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 down underneath those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little gap between the 2 at the top, like that. So there's a little gap of purple between the 2, and I'm just going to stick that down in between the gaps. So one goes there, one's going to go here, and one's going to go here. There you go. Oh, who didn't get their pages? Was that Betty or was that Angelina? Betty? I'm so sorry. We've just had so much trouble with couriers because I think they just completely overloaded at the moment. We'll try and get them out a bit earlier. We have sent the next 2 weeks out yesterday, so hopefully we've got a day ahead of ourselves, and you might get them in time next time. So sorry about that. Oh, sorry, Betty. I am really sorry about that. Oh, you didn't get yours either, Larissa. I'm so sorry. We've been trying to get them out a bit earlier. Very sorry about that. You can re-watch this video on our YouTube channel, Craftables NZ, if you do want to do it. If you get stuck or you want to carry on through the video with us. Okay, so my last one's going to go there. Okay, so you've got your 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces up there now. Okay, so we're going to actually do the very same thing down the bottom right hand side now. So I want to put 3 across here. Now when you come to do these ones, because we haven't really got anything to line it up with, I'm going to line it up with the bottom of my first photo mat and the side of my purple paper. So that's going to give me a nice even look to it there. So just line it up with the bottom of that first photo mat and that one along the right hand side on the purple. Okay, so just the bottom of that photo mat and the right side of my purple paper there. Here we go. So the next one's going to line up the bottom there again and to the point of that first one we put down. Oh, good. Good to hear that, Kayleen. Sorry I arrived a wee bit late to catch us today. Okay, so last one on the side here. So we're doing 3 along the bottom. And then we're going to do 2 to fill in those gaps underneath them. There we go. So our last one across the bottom there. Whoops, a bit of hair there somewhere. There we go. So you've got those 3 along the bottom there. So my last 2 is going to go, one's going to go there and one's going to go there. So if you want to go ahead and pop those 2 down now. Doing great, guys. You're nearly there. And then I'll show you how to put it into your album cover. Okay, so I'm going to bring that one up there. So there's a little bit of a gap between the other ones there. And the last one's going to go there. So I think you'll probably be glad to see the back of these little circles today. There's been a few of them. If you wanted to do, the good thing about this sort of layout is that you can actually, if you wanted to, do another one. And you could do it in sort of boy type of papers, and you could still do these little square circles on there. Be great for any sort of layout that you wanted to do. Right, so we've got all those down. Perfect. What is next? Okay, so we're just going to put our piece of twine across there now. So I've got a piece of twine wrapped around there 3 times. I've just gone right around the back, and then I've just put a few strips of tape on there just so that keeps them in place. So if you want to grab your twine and your kit, you should have plenty there. So what I want to do is I'm going to put it underneath there first. I'm going to leave enough on this left hand side so that I can tie a bow. So I'm going to flip that over and I'm going to stick that down there. So I'm just going to hold it in place where I want it to go, flip it over and just put a little bit of tape along there just to hold it in place so you know where you're going. Like that. Okay, flip it back, and now I'm going to wind it around 2 more times, so 3 times. So you've got 3 bits at the front there. Okay, so 1 across there, and again. There we go, 1 last time. So now we have 3 bits of twine on the front of our. It is a great way to use scraps, Jenny. Actually, that's a very good point. You could have all different colours. Okay, so on this left hand side here, we're going to do a knot and just a little bow. If you don't like doing bows, then just do a knot. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm just going to do my bow. There we go. So I'm just going to leave that flapping around there just so it's nice and... There we go. Great. So now we have our twine on. Right, the last thing to do now, or one of the last things to do, is to put our flowers and our butterfly on. So I've got, which one? This one here. I'm actually going to lift up and I'm going to put a little bit underneath my photo mats there. So I just, you can use glue for this because we won't need to really fuss around with it. And sorry, I just grabbed my glue. I'm going to use glue because I want to get these little bits up in here stuck down so they're not flapping around and getting caught on things. And because there's pretty much a very low chance of me wanting to move this, glue is a good idea for this one. So I'm just going to pop that just there. Like that. So this here will be enough for you to put another photo in as well. Hi, Jackie. Oh, yeah. Sounds exciting. Okay, so that's our first flower there. So I'm going to fold those back down. This one now, I want to go just up over there like that. So I'm just going to have that one over there a little bit. So I might just bring it up that way a wee bit. So pop some glue on that one. And we're just going to stick that one down as well. So I am actually going to go right over some of my little squares there. Stick that right down there. Awesome. Yeah, me too, Kayleen. I've actually really enjoyed lockdown. We had our Craft Communities page. Well, we still have that up and running, and it's been wonderful seeing how everybody does in lockdown and still keeping in contact. And with the Craft Communities page, we've been able to see everything everyone's been doing. It's been fantastic. Okay, so this one is our last one. I'm just going to bring that up to there like that. Just be careful not to rip those there. So just put some more glue on the back of that. Okay, so just up the top there. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to pop my butterfly on. So I'm going to pop my butterfly about there. So I actually might bring it down a wee bit so it's not. So I've moved the wings up a bit, but even though it's because it's in an album, it's going to be flat anyway. I just sort of like to give them a little bit of a 3D look. So I've got a bit of glue there, and I'm going to put a little bit of foam tape on the back here, just so that it holds the wings up a little bit. So just a little strip. So one there. So I'm going to do it sort of in the middle, a bit closer to the body, I think, so a little bit in there, another one on that side, so that when we push it down, it's going to keep the wings up a little bit. So that side as well. Here we go. So just push the body down and see how now that's just going to keep them up a little bit there. Great! Alright, so now what we've got to do, last thing to do is put our beautiful Beyoutiful title on down there. You could put that anywhere else if you like it, so I'm just going to glue that down there. There we go. So I'm just going to put mine down the bottom there. This is a Kaiser Craft die that we've got, this beautiful one here. It's a really lovely one to use. Oops. Right, so the last thing we need to do now is put our little bits of bling on. So I've just sort of put them in random spots, so, and you do have a couple of different sizes there, so don't worry too much about that. So I'm just going to pop one there. One there. Oh, thank you, Wendy. Just going to pop another one, a little one there, and then I'm just going to pop a few down here as well. There we go. Great, so that's the page done. So I'm just going to show you how to put this into your page protector now. So if you've got your page protector there, I want you to grab that for me. Now, when you do this, make sure that it's on the right side of your page protector. If your album, if your layout's going to go this way, then make sure that your spine here is to the left. If your page is going to go on the back of one, so that it's on this side of one, your spine needs to be to the right. So I'm just going to do mine on this side because I want it to pop in there. So I'm just going to pop the whole thing straight into my album, into my page protector there. Now this is where this could rip, so just be a little bit careful here. So we just want to pop it in. Actually, what I might get you to do, I might get you to just tape that twine down on the back there, so the whole lot doesn't move. So I just don't want that twine moving there. Right. So just pop that into there now. So just be a bit careful, because this is where I started to rip my page up here a bit. So just be a little bit gentle. Just slide it in. It is going to be a bit fiddly, but we will get there in the end. We'll get there together. That's it. So just slide the whole lot in, so all those little photo mats go underneath the page protector there, so the whole lot just gets pushed in. Okay. Now, so once that's in there, if you have a whiteboard marker, that's one of the best things to use because it comes off the plastic really easily. Just make sure that's pushed right down to the bottom of your page too, so it's in the right place. If you don't have a whiteboard marker, just use a pencil or a pen, and we'll just have to cut around that a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I want my first mark to be on the corners of my first flap here. So I'm just going to draw a line there. So that's where I know when I put my photo mat through there, that's where it's going to have to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a mark on these other ones as well, like that, just so I know where those are going to be cut as well. So now I'm going to pull it out. And those are my marks that I want to cut out. So I'm just going to get my cutting board now, and I want to pop it between the two layers. So I'm just going to pop that inside there, and I'm going to cut between those 2 points there. So just grab your craft knife, and you're just going to cut between those 2 points. So that's the first flap going through there. Okay. So to stop us having to go in and out all the time, I'm actually going to measure up. What was that one? That one was, sorry, hang on. So that one was 8 inches. So I've got an 8-inch mark on that side, so I'm going to bring it over to here and do another 8-inch mark on this side. Like that. And just make sure that that's 6 1/4. Yep, so mine's actually 7, so that's actually going to work out well because we want it to be just a little bit bigger. So go ahead and pop that back in. And then we're going to cut a slit between those 2 marks there again. It doesn't matter if these slits are too big, it's absolutely fine. It's just so that we can move them up and down on the outside of our page protector. Okay, so that's 2 slots there. And this is my third one here. So how far up from the bottom is that? It's about 7 1/2. So I'm going to come across and do about 7 1/2 on this side as well. Just make sure. No, I've actually put you wrong there. Sorry, guys. We need to go back this way. Oh, gosh. That's it. So we're going to go, what was it, 7 1/2, wasn't it? Up that way there. There we go. And make it a 6 1/4. We'll do about 7 across there like that. So go across there and cut out at 7. So I'm going to put a mark there. Pop this back in. Oh, you too, Sarah Jane. It was so nice to see you. I'm sorry I couldn't stop and chat. So nice to see everybody that we haven't seen for ages. Okay, so just cut your line between the 2 there again. Here we go. So once you've got those 3 slits in the front of your page protector, we can now put our layout back in. Now, this is where it gets a wee bit tricky. Sorry, I got bits everywhere. Now, when you're putting this in, this is where it'll rip again as well. So you just need to very gently maneuver it in and out, in and out. So we're just going to pop it in to start with, very carefully. Get past that twine there. So you will need to fluff around with it a little bit, sorry guys. But once it's in there, it's in there. That's it. Okay, so now we're just going to slip these photo mats through there. So that one there is going to come down the very bottom one. What's it getting stuck on? It's getting stuck on something at the back here. That's it. Okay. So this bottom one's going to come through that bottom one there. That one's going to come through that second one. So just keep pushing it down a little bit. So try not to rip it. This is where it's going to rip if it is going to rip. And that one through there. Okay. So once they're through those little pockets, now you can just slip the whole thing down. There we go. So have a fiddle around with it. You might have to have a little fiddle around with it there. So now that these are in your photo protector, you can lift them up and down. Now if you want this first one here to be protected because it hasn't got any protection there, if you've got a piece of acetate or a bit of plastic, even just a plastic bag like one of those snap lock bags, you can just pop that over the top and just put a few brads in the corners, and that will hold that on, and that'll keep this front photo protected there. So hope you can get it in there okay. Once it's in there, you don't want to get it out again. It's a bit fiddly to get in. So just maneuver it in, you'll get there, and that's your page done for the day. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm just going to quickly show you the next 2 weeks coming up. So this one is next week's one, I think. Is that the right one? Okay. Anyway, there's the next 2 weeks coming up. So this one here is a little bit of mixed media type of thing. So we've got a bit of inking on there. So you don't need to worry about what ink I've used. I've actually used Bundled Sage Distress ink for mine. But you can actually choose any ink at home that you've got that will match your photo. So if you've got a red sort of photo here, you could maybe use a very pale red on the background here. So when we come to do this page, you'll just need to get ready and have one of these colors ahead of time. So it's a little bit mixed media. We've got these little pipes here that we've got on there. We've got a few different flowers and cutouts and all sorts of stuff. So that's a really fun one to do. This one fits a 4x6, so that's a 4x6 photo there. And then our next week, the one after that, we've got this one here. So this is a bit of a travel page, and I know nobody's been traveling much lately, but it's sort of, we've called it Remembering Travel. So if you've got travel pictures from before, then that's great. So this one is fairly plain. We're going to pull these little pieces up here. So these little bits are called photo turn mounts. So this one just opens up like that. So you can get 2, 3, 4, 5 photos on that one as well. So this just all opens up, and I'll show you how to put that into your page protector as well. And these little photo mounts just fold down and hold it all closed. So that's the next 2 weeks layouts. They're on the website now. We have them ready to send out, so hopefully you'll get them in time this time. So if you want to order those, just go onto our website and order them. If you order 2 at one time, you save on your postage. So that's a bonus, always a bonus. And thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a lovely day in this beautiful sun. Thanks, everybody. Bye.